Any state or for that matter any country in the world that spends close to 550 crores of rupees for maintaining the terrorist leaders in Kashmir. And it was in the news a few weeks back. The government of India has spent 550 crores in upkeeping of Hurriyat leaders, separatist leaders and terrorist leaders. You must be sometimes getting confused. If every state in 1947 became part of India, constituted what's now India, what is great about this state of Jammu and Kashmir? That we have to virtually maintain that state, because that state on its own cannot collect revenue equivalent to the salary of their own employees. What is great about that state? That its non-Muslim population in Kashmir province was thrown out, and government of India, people of India outside of that state accepted their violent expulsion with great impunity, except for few great Indian patriots, very few in number, and very small percentage of Indian population that talk about the Kashmiri Hindus, that really came to help them. What is it about the problem? Kashmir, Jammu and Kashmir state, which has that issue, basically if you study the history, has consumed great leaders, and I would say great leaders in both countries, on both sides. Indian leaders as well as Pakistani leaders. Pakistani leaders like General Ayub Khan to General Musharraf. They couldn't do nothing, though they wanted to grab this state. Now Indian leaders from Nehru till date, till Vajpayee, till so many prime ministers we had, whatever great they had done, they were still consumed by the issue. For example, Nehru. Nehru did excellent job as a freedom fighter or as a first prime minister, but till today, 60 plus years later, he is still being blamed. We all blame. I personally blame him for the mess he created in Kashmir. Great Lal Bahadur Shastri, one of the greatest prime ministers, greatest leaders we had in Kashmir, virtually died for the same Kashmiri issue when in Tashkent he had to give up some parts of Kashmir by way of Tashkent Declaration back to Pakistan. Now we all know Kashmir was a thriving Hindu kingdom. But as of today, unfortunately, the process started right after the accession of that state with the Union of India in 1947. Every glorious past, every glorious Hindu past in Kashmir, which dates back thousands of years, is being wiped off by the people of Kashmir, helped by successive central governments and the state governments. Now many of you must have, I'm sure, gone to Kashmir and seen great Shankaracharya temple. Its name is being changed to Kohe Suleiman, after some Islamic name. And for all this, I am not really hesitating to say that government of India is part and parcel of the problem. Kashmir was a vast lake, a satisar, which was drained with the spiritual efforts of one of the greatest rishis, Rishi Kashyap or Kashyap Rishi. And the initial people who used to reside in Kashmir were tribal people, Nagas and Yakshas, and subsequently, I think only half an hour, I'll cut it short, and subsequently the place became a virtual seat of Hindu civilization. Most of the Hindu Brahmins, it also became seat of Buddhist culture. great Buddhist monks would come to Kashmir. Like we have continuing education programs here, they would go a few months to study from the Brahmins of the Kashmir. The civilization, the Vedic civilization, the greatness of Hindus. And it is so sad that we have let it be wiped off. Looking at Sri Sampatji from India, we had greatest of our acharyas. Shankaracharya ji, Adil Shankaracharya ji came from south. He wanted to go to Kashmir for a few months to interact with the Brahmins of those times. He ended up staying in Kashmir for a number of years. He was so impressed by the work done for our Hindu religion by these Kashmiri Hindus that time, that he ended up meditating in the hillock, which some of us must have seen as Shankaracharya Hill. Now, why have we allowed that drift to take place? Friends, it has not started today or yesterday. It has been going on for a long time. Now, we will start the process from 1947. When the partition was about to take place, Muhammad Ali Jinnah thought that Kashmir is in his pocket. He would call Kashmir as a blank check. Kabhi bhi hum Kashmir ko le sakte because it's a Muslim majority state. But that was not true. We had a very popular leader, Sheikh Abdullah in 40s, who also had some great ideas, possibly to become himself the Sheikh of Jammu and Kashmir, of the Kashmir. So he was also not really sure that he will help Jinnah get his dream fulfilled by merger of Kashmir with Pakistan. Same time in 1947, we had the Kashmir was being ruled by Dogra kings. And in 1947, the Dogra king was Maharaja Hari Singh. We know his son, Dr. Karan Singh, a Congressi leader. Maharaja Hari Singh did not accede to India in 1947, contrary to the fact that all the principalities which ran into 400 to 500 smaller kingdoms, they were given choice. They had only one choice. Only one choice. Either you merge with Pakistan, become part of Pakistan, or become part of India. 400 plus principalities with the help of efforts of great Sardar Patel, they joined India. And 100 plus joined Pakistan. But in 1947, when Pakistan was created and India became free from British rule, we had a third country in between called Kashmir. Because Kashmir did not join India or Pakistan till October 27, 1947. For a few months, few weeks, situation was very fluid till the Prime Minister of that time, Gopalasam Iyengar and all, virtually told Maharaja Hari Singh that we have to join India. And it so happened Pakistanis and Muslim rulers, as impatient as they are, they wanted to grab Kashmir quickly. Chalo, lelo. They sent in tribals thinking that there will be revolt, Muslims will side with us and Kashmir will become part of Pakistan. It did not happen so. Finally, Maharaja Hari Singh woke up when he was driven out of Kashmir, and by road he had to run away and reach Jammu to a safer place. And the rest of it is actually history. And that was on 27th. He signed the instrument of accession with India. Now many times we get confused. Was there something special about this Kashmir? Instrument of accession or that blank form was the same what Sardar Patel used for other principality. There were no preconditions for Maharaja Hari Singh to become part of India. Everything was the same. Now we talk about, let me touch for a minute what happened in United Nations. What happened in 1947, immediately after India acceded to India, Kashmir acceded to India, there was a tribal raid. Pakistanis sent in their regular and irregular tribal people and Pakistani army in or without uniform to raid the Kashmir, and they almost reached Srinagar airport, where they started indulging in rape and looting and killing and injuring the Kashmiri population that time. The Indian army in the morning of 28 October, landed their first planes, paratrooped their troops to secure the airport, and wanted to actually take over all the parts of Kashmir that were by then taken over by these tribal and Pakistani elements. But Nehru, we know he claimed to be a very smart person. He had to stop them from crossing over and freeing all the villages and towns that were actually captured by Pakistani army. Then, like a little crybaby, possibly hoping that if I take this action of Pakistan, invasion of Pakistan in 1947 to United Nations will be so impressed by Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru ji that they will tell me, okay, we are going to take care of it. And it so happened, a United Nations case was taken in January of 1948. A resolution an advisory was recommended in, I believe, in June or July of 1948, asking Pakistan to vacate from the state of Kashmir, the map of the Kashmir. But till today, 68 years later, Pakistan has not vacated an inch, but they have taken over not inches but miles of our land, including some parts of Kargil land in 1990, which they invaded. Some of it is still, as of today, still with Pakistan. Nehru thought he had all the wisdom in this world, but I think it was lack of his wisdom that he had to knock at the doors of United Nations. My friends, many times you will come across some Pakistani elements, some anti-Indian elements, who will tell you, hey, we are asking for Kashmir because there is a United Nations resolution. Right? Yes, there is a resolution. But that was not a resolution, that was an advisory. That was a recommendation. It was not binding either on Pakistan or on India. It was an advisory. The condition number one was that Pakistan has to vacate from the lands it occupied in 1947, but they did not. If they had vacated, then resolution's second step was to ascertain the wishes of Jammu and Kashmir population as it existed in pre-1947 in the Principality of Maharaja Hari Singh. So we should never be apologetic about United Nations. Many people have asked me questions, hey, Dr. Nehru, don't we have a resolution, United Nations, which is asking you guys to vacate from Kashmir? I said, yes, sure, there is a resolution. You meet, you fulfill part 1 of United Nations resolution, I'm sure India will fulfill part 2. Anyway, in 1947 and after that, like when we are shown or when we see the official map of India, we see something like this. But the green and red, as shown in this map, they are not part of our country, India at all. 42% of the Kashmir that exceeded with Mother India does not exist. It's not with us. Out of that, 37% is with Pakistan and 10 to 12% is under the illegal occupation of China. Now coming back, after 47, we used to have great national movement. We had great patriots who that time thought, how in this country we can have 2 flags? If we are one country and if legally Kashmir has become part of India, how do we have 2 constitutions? So around 48, 49, it stuck greatest of the great, Dr. Shyama Prasad Mukherjee, that he has to talk about it with Nehru. But of course, Nehru did not agree. And Dr. Shyama Prasad Mukherjee was deeply upset. In fact, history tells us it was not Kashmir. It was the communal rights in Noakhali, pre-47. It was the direct action call given by Muslim leaguers of Jinnah in 1946 that we saw massacre of thousands and thousands of Hindus in Calcutta and surrounding villages. Shyama Prasad Mukherjee's mindset had changed. And in 1944, he ended up becoming the first president of Hindu Mahasabha, Bharatiya Hindu Mahasabha. And this person was not an ordinary person, he was a genius. He was one of the youngest person to become Vice Chancellor of Calcutta University at age 31 or 32. He was only 31 or 32 years of age. And what a comparison when we compare a personality called Dr. Shyama Prasad Mukherjee with current mantris. I am sure you all know Dr. Shyama Prasad Mukherjee was a minister in first India's cabinet with Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. He resigned. He was the architect of what's even now the industrial policy of Indian government. He came up with the first industrial policy in 1948 when he was Minister of Industries with Nehru. He resigned for a simple sake. In a country, there has to be one constitution, not two. Now I will touch for a minute. He resigned from the cabinet, and in 1951 he came up and formed Bharatiya Janasangh and became its first prime minister. And very easily he would get elected. Very easily in 1950 also he got elected from Calcutta as its Lok Sabha member. From that day till today, I don't recall that any pro-Hindu guy has ever been elected in whole state of West Bengal, unfortunately. He wanted to break this law, entered the state of Jammu and Kashmir at a border near Punjab, was arrested, was sent to jail, and out of jail we only got unfortunately only his dead body. He made a supreme sacrifice. He created an awareness in educated population that if it has exceeded in full. We don't care whether Nehru had special friendship with Sheikh Mahmud Abdullah, who that time of course was a popular leader of Jammu and Kashmir. But the same Dr. Mukherjee, very unfortunately and very sad for me in person because I'm a Kashmiri, that he was killed one more time very recently when we had a new government of BJP and PDP. I'll come to that in a little while. Now I'll come back to, we had number of chief ministers, ministries, and most of the ministries in Jammu and Kashmir, friends, were run directly or indirectly by Congress Party of India, the great Congress Party of India. Now the result of this whole Kashmir situation was that terrorism, it became a priority for ISI, Pakistani-sponsored terror, to make sure that Kashmir is gotten rid of its nationalist population. Now who were these nationalists? Were the same Kashmiri Hindus whose history you can trace to thousands of years. The first mention of this community is in Raj Tirangani, the first written historic document of India. They were thrown out, and I'll tell you some of the slogans during that time in late 80s and early 90s that forced the exodus of Kashmiri Hindus. Some of them are, "Yahan kya chalega? Nizam-e Mustafa. Pakistan se rishta kya? La ilaha illallah. Afghanistan se rishta kya? Saudi Arabia se rishta kya? La ilaha illallah. As Kashmiri, I say Kashmir, button. That means we want Kashmir without Hindu folk, but with Hindu women and girls. And this all shamefully has happened, not in pre-47, it has happened when India claimed or claims to be secular democracy. What was the fault of my community? That they had to become refugees in their own country. And not many people, unfortunately, came to their help, other than small organizations, small Hindu organizations, associations here and there. But the greatest, I can think of only two great personalities. One, Governor Jagmohan, who was the governor that time of the state of Jammu and Kashmir, who helped them in a physical form. Like he made sure that physically they are still there, though psychologically they were full of scars. They spread to many states, mostly in Jammu, Delhi, northern India. Some of them reached almost up to Kanyakumari, Madras, Bangalore, name the cities. But the greatest personality that has actually saved our community by way of giving education, pre-education to our second generation, little kids, youthful kids who didn't even understand what's happening in India, that we are living in refugee camps. Some of them ended up by chance reaching what was Bombay that time. And then they decided, hey, we know this great leader in Maharashtra, Bombay, Bala Sahib. Met Bala Sahib, and Bala Sahib would always ask them one question. Kaho kya karunga? I mean, he is also confused. How can I help you? And now Kashmiri Hindus are also confused what to ask this man. They said, see, we are cent percent literate. We have been cent percent literate community always. Sir, what are these young kids going to do? They will become, possibly they will go into bad side of the lives. So give them education, sir. Bala Sahib was so impressed within day or 2 days. He asked that time I believe it was Mr. Manohar Joshi, who was the chief minister. He admit these young Kashmiri Hindus who are victims of terrorism in our country in any college, medical school, engineering school, or graduate classes, and that's how I give my greatest tribute to Bala Sahib for saving our community. When everyone was mocking at this community, when there were communist parties and other parties and congresses and Vishwanath Pratap Singh's government, Indra Kumar Gujral's government looking other way. Even Rajiv Gandhi, who was more sympathetic to Farooq Abdullah's party in India than his own nationalist population, looked other way. It was only Bala Sahib, such a great person, and Bala Sahib is no more with us today, but I am sure his blessings for my community, not only my community, whole of India, will always be there, always. Friends, it will make you to cry. If you give me 5 minutes, I want to talk about the present situation in Kashmir. You all know it, but I am only going to expand on that. Many people have asked me, hey, you're a BJP guy. Yes, I am a Modi supporter, yes. I love Modi. What do you think about what BJP has done in Kashmir? I tell them very simply, Kashmir is a story of betrayal by each and everyone, right from 1947 till today. I said, all I have to say is, one question. Did you watch oath-taking ceremony of Kashmir Ministry in Jammu?
Yes.
If some of you have watched that on Indian TVs, then I don't have to say anything. But those of you who have not, I'll go back end of 2014 when elections were announced to the state of Jammu and Kashmir. We had two national parties contesting elections in Kashmir. One Bharatiya Janata Party, one Congress of Sonia Gandhi. We had two major regional parties contesting elections in Kashmir. J&K state, one national conference led by Farooq Abdullah, Omar Abdullah, and other regional party, PDP, led by Mufti Said and his daughter, Mehbooba Mufti. Very simple. I will again humbly request you, you don't necessarily have to believe me. You please Google what I am saying. And if I am wrong, I would not hesitate apologizing. The Nationalist Party manifesto, Congress Party. Same what politicians do, because all the politicians are politicians first and something else later on. We'll do this, we'll do that, we'll do this, we'll do whatever. That was their manifesto. Then the National Conference manifesto was a bit nationalist because they didn't want to secede from India. They said we'll do this, but they said we are going to strengthen Article 370. Okay? Anyway, this article has been raped by national as well as regional parties, so nothing new. So they said there can be no Hindu chief minister in that state, will not allow it. Revocation of Article 370 over Hamare Lashon par. Okay? You want to gain votes, that's fine. Now PDP, their motto, PDP basically has come out of the womb of separatism in Kashmir. That's how this political party came in picture in the state of Jammu and Kashmir. They said, oh, Article 370, no way. If you don't vote for us, you will be ruled by Nagpur. RSS will come in Kashmir, they will rule over us, so you have to vote for us. Then their main aim or objective of PDP, which is public, you can Google www.pdp.org, you will know everything, is self-rule. Now I want to take 30 seconds. What do you mean by self-rule? What does PDP want? What does Mufti Said want in Kashmir? What do you mean by public self-rule? I'll give you one or two points. Self-rule means that he wants, in the state of Jammu and Kashmir, that both currency of Pakistan and India should be honored. One. Now I don't know how Indians will take that currency of Pakistan will be allowed in the state of Jammu and Kashmir. So that's what he means by self-rule. He wants neighboring countries of Greater Kashmir. It's given in their website. He wants the neighboring countries of Greater Jammu and Kashmir, which has its own self-rule, to give generous amounts of funds to this new state of Jammu and Kashmir. And he will be very thankful to the neighboring country of India and neighbor Pakistan to help that self-ruled Kashmir. He is going to remove all the articles, including various articles that have some relationship with India. He is going to create his own public services. He is going to remove all India Services Act in Jammu and Kashmir. So these are the issues. Now BJP, which claims to be the nationalist party, now what did they do in election? What was their manifesto? In their Lok Sabha manifesto, they said we are going to revoke Article 370. In their state election manifesto, they said we are going to debate on the manifesto. But once they assumed power, they said these are all contentious issues, don't even talk about it. Kashmiri Hindus, get out, don't talk about it. West Bengali refugees citizenship issue, don't keep quiet. Article 3 said, we are only for development, we never talked about it. Now Ram Mandir was not an issue in J&K elections. So what was their main issue? Please Google and find out what they said while they were campaigning in Kashmir. They said they are going to strengthen Islam in Kashmir even further. As I requested you, don't blame me, go to public domains and check it out. They said they are going to strengthen Kashmir. Now we have a big problem, sir. I spoke with Dr. Subramanian Swamy in New York on Hindu Unity Day, and someone asked me, so what is the solution? So I said, when India was being ruled by Islamic rulers for 800 to 1000 years, when we were